Hello, everyone. Hello, YouTube. This is Mike at Your Car Dealer Bond, and welcome you guys another time out here. If you guys saw the part one of the interview with John Vo, or listened to it with John Vo from Ascend Autos, this is part two. If you haven't heard part one, I think that hearing it out of sequence might not make as much sense, to be honest. I'll put a link to it, and I'll put it in the little end cards here. But if you guys haven't listened to part one, check out part one, then come back, bolt on part two here. But this is part two of that interview with John from Ascend Autos, talking real stuff to real used car dealers. This is a dealer that just got licensed about 18 months ago, and has sort of hit some snags along the lines, and we're just discussing it sort of from the ins to the outs. So you guys enjoy out there. You guys take care, and thanks again for telling a friend about the Your Car Dealer podcast, about the Your Car Dealer Bond YouTube channel, where we're going to continue to flood you guys with great information, all things used car dealers. You guys take care out there. No, that's interesting. So now you're in Upland, you kind of serve the Upland and Pomona area. You're doing this on a retail basis. If you had to nail down and where you're getting these cars from, are you sourcing them local? You sourcing them from private parties, other dealers, auctions? Where are you getting your cars from?
Basically, my location, I'm basically in between like several different major auctions, like the Mannheim, Odessa, even some of the independent auctions like Norwalk as well too, not too far away from my stuff as well.
Interesting. And for transportation, do you transport them back to your lot, or do you have somebody do that for you? Do you have a transportation company that does that?
I basically do it myself. I have my brother give me a ride to the auction after I win the vehicle, and then I basically just drive it home.
I love it. John, tell me about the very first auction you went to. What was that experience like?
The very first auction, I was like, my mind was blank. I kind of went over there. I was like in shock, like, what am I going to do? Right.
No, I know it. I've talked to probably 500 dealers and asked them that exact same question. All of them answered basically the same way, all the way from their heart was racing, they couldn't stop sweating, they were nervous the entire time, they felt like they lost 10 pounds. I mean, some of them were telling me how hungry they were. Some of them were telling me that they couldn't eat for hours even after this because their stomach was in knots. I mean, I've kind of, it all seems like it distills down to the same stories. You're everything's going so fast, and you're not used to that pace. Where exactly. You know what I mean? It's a whole different. It's a whole different thing.
Like, man.
Yes, it's a whole different. It's a whole ecosystem in itself. It's like under the sea. It's its own little universe. And then you walk out of there. You go to the a store or a restaurant or something, and it's obviously the world is a different place than that auction.
Yes, it is.
Wow, that's awesome. So you're. Initially, your biggest pain point was getting through nailing down the lease, nailing down the place where you were actually going to do business from day in, day out. And at this point now, you got a location, you've got these cars that you're acquiring from different auctions, whether it's what are you, out in Fontana sometimes, out to Norwalk, as far as Norwalk to Fontana or something?
Yeah, and Riverside as well too.
Riverside, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All around the area.
Yeah, exactly. Do you notice any big advantage from one of those versus the other? It seems like it's just any given week, one versus another. It's not really that big of a difference.
Exactly. It doesn't matter if it's like the smaller auction. Sometimes you find a steal there, sometimes you don't. Just like at the bigger auctions too.
Exactly. That's great. Let me ask you this: if you had to, for you personally, where do you do if you had to, on social media wise, where is it that you spend your time? You spend it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube?
Most of the time, believe it or not, I just be posting just independent ads on like Craigslist.
Gotcha. Okay, not really building out in that social media space then.
I do post some on Facebook, but I find like because like during the test drive and all that stuff, I asked them like, where did you find me at? And then they said Craigslist. Most of the time, it's Craigslist.
Right. No, absolutely. Are you in any print media too?
Not at the moment.
Gotcha. You running a dealer management software?
No, basically I'm just all manual, just like hands-on type of guy. But also at the same time too, I'm one of them smaller dealership as well too. So basically, I don't really need the software to go major. Not yet. In the future, I plan on doing so.
Exactly. Gotcha. And how many vehicles would you say you carry an inventory on, in a given month? Because I have a feeling that as much as, and I have this conversation a lot of times with dealers, and they tell me, you know what, I'm just a small guy. And I say, you have no idea how many dealers are exactly like you, whether it's that you guys only carry 1 or 2 cars at a time, and that's your model. You'd be surprised. That's probably the majority of the guys that we deal with, especially when they're just getting licensed under the first 3 years. It really is that seems like that's the place to start at for sure.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. No, I know it.
Just trying to find my way.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm enjoying it though.
I love it. No, John, you know what? To the extent that at any point you have questions, I know that you know this. I've mentioned it to you before, but definitely, if there's anything we can do to help you out along the way, help explain things to you, help explain, how to. There's a lot of times where I'm not, it's not like I'm some guru expert and knows every single thing about this industry there is to know. But if for some reason I don't know the answer, I know where to go and find a lot of this information with all the networking over the last 20 years I've done with, either guys that run DMS companies or whether they run, like InstaVin. I was just talking to the owner of InstaVin the other day. I was just talking to an inspector earlier today. I was hanging out with Larry Laskowski from IADAC, the chairman of the board from IADAC. It's at an auction a couple weeks ago, so I've got sort of a wide variety of these guys, whether it's pre-licensing educators. I think, let me ask you this, how did you originally get in touch with Your Car Dealer Bond?
Basically, I just Google how to be a used car dealer, and then just took one of the class course, and then he said, hey, hit up this guy named Mike. He'll help you set up your bonds and everything once you get your plate started.
Oh, wow. Nice. Okay, so that tipped you off, got you kicked in our direction, and then that's how we helped you kind of get your bond lined up. And that's a lot of times, I would say that probably 85% of our business comes from referrals in some way, shape, or form, depending on what side of the state you're on. We are doing a little bit more on Google. Some folks are hearing about us from YouTube videos and Instagram. We're starting to do a little more on Instagram, but no, that's interesting. All this has been inside. Let me ask you this: do you have anything in particular, anything in particular that you wanted to mention, John?
Just besides, you guys helped me out a lot, and I'm trying to take the next step and getting bigger loans and everything. And you guys are pointing me into the direction to get the insurance versus the bonds. And
yes.
thank you guys for your help, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely, John. I told you I didn't want to hijack a bunch of your time, and I definitely appreciate. I know that you're. I mean, geez, we're cutting this thing. You guys are going to hear it on the podcast and on the video at a different time, but we're cutting this thing at 7:30 at night on a Monday, and John's nice enough to come in and explain some of the good, bad, and the ugly of what he's gone through, and I can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Like I said, if there's some things that today, tomorrow, next month, next year, I mean, it's that nothing makes me happier than knowing that there's somebody on the other side of this. That, I mean, this stuff, my heart beats fast for this business, but it's a small universe. There's only 10,000 licensed car dealers in California, and so to the extent that I get to connect with you guys, it really, it's exciting for me. And then to see you over the years, as I know that you're going to continue to kind of grow. Some of my dealers, they started out just like you 7-8 years ago, and now these guys are some of them got some really interesting operations all the way from Redding down to San Diego and everywhere in between. We've got some really interesting dealerships, like Beverly Hills Car Club's one of them, that is a gigantic monster now. We saw them grow from nothing to where they're at today, and they're something else. So I have no doubt that you're asking all the right questions every time you and I talk and communicate. So I have no doubt that I think you're going to get to where you want to get to. And like I said, along the way, if there's anything we can do, continue to check into the podcast and our YouTube channel, and we'll continue to see if we can't put out some content to help you, John. And as you have some more questions and want to get to certain levels, if there's certain things that either I can help you out with or I can point you in the right direction to help you out with, that's what we're here. That's what we're here to do.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely.
There's a bunch of good folks there.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, John. I definitely, if you don't watch yourself, John, I might ask you to come back on the podcast in the future here and give us an update on how you're doing. And
no problem.
Yeah,
I have
definitely.
A bunch of weird stories, good and bad.
No, I can't wait to hear them.
Man.
I can't wait to hear them. I'm telling you, this is the stuff that I live for. So. Definitely, John. Thank you again. I can't tell you enough, and we'll definitely be in touch, John. We definitely will. You let me know how we can help, and we'll definitely do so. You have a good one out there, and enjoy the rest of your week, John. Have a good one. Thanks again. Take care. Okay, bye-bye. There it is. This is Mike from Your Car Dealer Bond, and just wrapping up the Your Car Dealer podcast. You guys take care out there another week. Just a quick sample. We're going to get to a lot more of this kind of content where we're going to deliver you. I've got another one coming where this other dealer's on the other side of it. He's been in the business a lot of years. He's seen it. He's been there, done that. Over the last 10 or so years, he's really become a lot more of a staple in some of these auctions, particularly in the San Diego area. So a slightly different market, slightly different model. He's going to share some of his insights, some of his stories, some of the things that I think you guys are going to love to hear the difference in some of these things that we got. And there's no shortage of dealers that we're going to be tapping into slowly. So definitely connect with us. Definitely let us know what you think. If there's any questions that you guys have, anything that comes up, anything you'd like to see a video about, or you guys have just a one-off question, love to hear it. You guys continue to stay in there. Tell a friend. Mention it, the podcast. At that auction that you guys are going to this week, next week, the week after. One of the things that seems like you guys wanted from last week or a week before, when I was looking through some of these things, was you guys wanted some good rebuttals. What can you guys say when they put you on the spot and they're asking you some things that maybe you're not comfortable with? Any of you guys that might have seen some of my older content maybe remember that back in the day I was a telemarketer. I used to be one of those dildos that was out there calling you at 6 o'clock when you first got home, or even worse, at 7 or 8 when you just got to sit down with your family, and I'm the guy calling you. This is back in 1996. Back in 1996, I was that guy, and they gave us extensive training. Trust me, I wasn't the only guy. There was 60 of us, maybe 75 of us in a room. Real boiler room type of situation. Guys, gals, old, young, you name it. Boy, oh boy. Pacific Monarch Resorts is the company name, PMR. And there was there was just tons of variation in the type and the style. And they used to, you know what, I will say this. I was a super shy kid to talk to anybody, even over a phone, in my first 2 weeks. And when I'm getting there, and boy, oh boy, those guys, they really kind of turned the key on what it was that I was doing. Now, I'm not really on that same level anymore where that's my whole move, is I'm trying to talk people into shit. But as it pertains to used car dealers, you guys got to be footloose and fancy free. You guys got to work on your dexterity, as I would call it. To me, that's your guys' ability to be nimble on your feet, to not really get locked down. This is what I see happen in a lot of the guys that I used to train in the insurance world to go out there and be regional sales managers. They used to get real locked down into a particular script. They'd get real locked down into a particular response where I was always taught that you want to be able to be nimble enough to where you could have 6 different responses, and no matter what, there might be a textbook answer that you go to for a certain question, but I'd say more often than not, it actually works, I think, sometimes in your guys' benefit when you're not predisposed to a certain answer every single time. The reason, and the only reason I say that, is because sometimes the same question get asked to you by 2 different people, 2 different types of people, 2 different... Take, for instance, somebody that tells you, I'm really not looking to buy today. The last thing I want to do is walk out of here with a car today. You got to be able to read. Is that just somebody trying to get you off of them for a second, trying to get you to back off because they don't want you to be a sleazy salesperson? Or is that somebody that, kind of just, put it this way, I'm a guy. Back in the days, unfortunately, I hope my wife doesn't hear this, I used to chase girls. And sometimes the girls would say no, like, no, I don't want to give you my phone number. But later on, maybe the second time you asked them, they said, yeah, I wanted to give you my phone number the first time you asked me, but I just couldn't act like I was easy, and I couldn't just give it to you the first time you asked for it. What kind of girl would that make me if I just gave you my number when you asked for it the first time? What kind of girl do you think I am, damn it? And I don't know. I didn't realize that I had to ask twice. Now, I'm not talking about she said no and all of a sudden I'm, still go all over. But there's quite a few times where, guys are asking girls in particular, hey, would you like to go out with me? Or, we're going out for drinks tonight. Or would you like to come along? And want to go out for a cup of coffee? And she's going to kind of play cat and mouse a little bit because that adds to the excitement, I think, or the somehow for a gal, it does something different for you girls than it does to guys. But all that to say that sometimes that person really just they really want to buy that car. They just don't want to seem desperate to you, right? They want to walk away with the car today. They don't want to spend a bunch of time screwing around trying to figure out the right car for them. They want to get down to business, brass tacks. Let's get it done fast. I want to get the car of my dreams and know that I'm not getting ripped off for it. I want to walk home with that thing today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month. That's the way some of them are. But they'll tell you, I'm not really looking to buy today. But if you made them the right offer with the right situation, they would buy today, right? That's the point. So, a lot of times, and just as a quick, super quick concept, right? The cat and mouse concept, right, is right out of the gate. They're telling you, hey, listen, I don't want to do this. I don't want to buy a car today. You walk up to them, hey, how you doing? What you guys looking for? I'm looking for this, but we're just looking. We're not looking to buy today. Yeah, that's wonderful. I'm so glad you said that. My God, my hand's about to fall off. I've been writing deals all day long. I thought you were going to be the 7th of the day. I was already calling my wife, telling her I'm going to be home super late. It's just not going to happen tonight. We have plans, and oh my word, thank my lucky stars. You said, bless your heart, you don't want to buy a car today. Good, so I could just walk around, let my guard down here, and no pressure on either one of us. All right, what are we looking for? At that point, you kind of connect with them on a different level. You also kind of hit what's called a pattern disrupt. And I'm trying to teach anybody who will listen about these things and how important they are. But these pattern disrupts, whether it's on the wrestling team, and I'm trying to coach some of the kids to disrupt their patterns a little bit because they're a little too telegraphed is the word. They're you could see them coming from a mile away. There's no guesswork here. You know what's happening, right? That's exactly the opposite of what you need, right? It's exactly what this does a lot of times. Is it throws them off so much because they expected something totally different from you. You hit them with, oh good. They expect you to say, well, but if I made you the right deal, would you buy today? When they said, nah, I'm not really interested in buying today. They expect that answer. You hitting them with, oh my God, oh, bless your heart. I don't have to sell you anything today. Oh my gosh, I've already got a bunch of these in, and I'm confident that I'm going to show you something good, and if I can put that into another day's worth of production, even better for me, right? So anyway, all that to say, really look for the pattern disrupt. It's becoming more and more and more important. It's becoming more and more common, I'd say, in a lot of those that are really, really doing the bigger things out there. The guys that are out there really banging, selling big time, selling large numbers, doing a lot of that stuff. I see this happening. So for what it's worth, pattern disrupt, definitely throw them off. Don't let them see you coming. Anyway, so we're going to be bringing you continuing to bring you used car dealer beneficial content to help you guys be more successful. One thing that I definitely want to open up is our Q&A to you guys. I've been answering a lot of questions from you guys in different areas, whether it's you guys are DMing me on Instagram, Your Car Dealer Bond on Instagram, by the way. But regardless of where we're connecting at, a lot of you guys are leaving me video comments, which is another great way. I get these things damn instantly, where they pop up and I can either sock you guys a response real quick there, or shit, if it's a question that I think there's some I'm seeing either more than once, or I think that there's definitely some others that have that same question. By all means, I'm all about it, man. That's the one thing I want to do more than anything else, is continue to bring you guys content that you guys actually want. Doesn't make me any sense to, do videos on what I want. Shit, that'll be a totally different move. But I'm doing it on what you guys want, on what you guys are asking me for, and on what you guys are seem to need some direction on. So by all means, Q&As. This is just another way for me to tell you guys, keep banging questions. All your questions are good. Trust me, there's no such thing as a bad question, because no matter what, somebody else has got that question, I bet. And we're getting a lot of you guys from different sides of the state, so I don't know that you guys are necessarily turning on your competition to anything new by me answering a question or two that you guys might have. But anyway, keep on keep on flooding in those questions any way you guys can. Keep on catching the Your Car Dealer podcast. At this point, I think we're going to start doing slightly different content there versus here on YouTube, just to get you guys a little bit more of a spread. Something a little different, something that's not long form, as opposed to something for 25, 35 minutes in my podcast. I'm going to try to sock you up some tidbits in 5-6 minutes here on YouTube. It seems like that's what you guys want, so by all means, the fans are in the stands for a reason, not for what I want, but for what you guys want. Again, this is Mike from Your Car Dealer Bond. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, telling friends, subscribing, all that fun stuff, hitting that bell notification, all that. And again, we'll continue to bring you guys the content week after week after week after week. You guys be sure to catch the Your Car Dealer podcast as well. And again, this is Mike from Your Car Dealer Bond out.